The Prophet ﷺ says, Hazrat Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala anhu reports that the Prophet ﷺ says there are 7 things that we should do that will reach us, benefit us after we die. 7 things after we die. Inna mimma yalhaqul mu'min min amalihi wa hasanatihi ba'da mautihi. That certainly these rewards and benefits reach a person who does certain deeds, certain actions while he's alive. He benefits from these deeds after he dies. And what are those deeds? Number 1, the Prophet ﷺ says, Ilman allamahu wa nasharahu. He says, ilm that you teach, knowledge that we teach. See? Knowledge that we teach, and when we die, the people that benefit from that, we get their blessings, and it will be continuous for us after. It will continue to be a blessing for us even after we die. You know, like how here in Darul Uloom, we teach students, imams, hufaz, learn Islam. When we die, those of you who support that cause, when you die, those students who lead salah, give khutbahs, propagate the deen, you get that blessings in your grave, and until then, Qiyamah. Then the Prophet ﷺ continues to say, he says, Ilman allamahu, and then he also says, wa nasharahu. And that knowledge of the deen that you spread. So one is to teach someone, and one is to spread. And if you study the Arabic meaning of this word,